Hi everyone, hope you're doing well, and I'm so happy it's Friday. I wanted to talk today about if the FBI thought Summer had been abducted. We know that, we haven't gotten much information from law enforcement, but we know for sure that they have said, probably more than one time, that there was no evidence of an abduction. I think I've heard in the past supporters of Don and Candace say, would there be any evidence of an abduction if there was one? And that sounds logical at first glance. You think, okay, that's a logical argument. But what I decided to do was dive a little deeper into the FBI CARD team, or CARP, and I found some things I felt like were interesting and just wanted to share them. So here we go. Okay, so I started with a Google search of what type of evidence is found when there's been an abduction of a child. I'm going to link, put the link of this that I found, that I'm talking about, in the description. So, all of it was really interesting, but I pulled out some things that I felt relevant to Summer's case. Okay, so determine the time frame between when the victim was last seen and when discovered missing. This window of opportunity is crucial to establish. Realize that persons responsible for the child may attempt to reduce the window of opportunity. Keep the window of opportunity in mind when conducting interviews of possible witnesses. I found that interesting because it said the people responsible for the child might attempt to reduce the window of opportunity, and that's exactly what we see Don, Candace, and Grandis doing with she's been missing for 10 minutes. I just went out on a walk or a run or whatever that was supposed to be. They just want to say it was just no time. Like all this went down in 10 minutes. And that really speaks to the fact that they're not being honest about that. When we look at the timeline that's been given, we see that there were hours missing from that day, and that doesn't look good at all for John and Candace, and Grandis too. So this next one, it says, based upon the information developed, make an initial assessment as to the type of incident they think it is. Abduction, parental kidnapping, runaway, or possibly a false report to conceal some other type of incident. Could be homicide, accidental death, or other problem. We know that their initial assessment, pretty quickly after the FBI team was there, they came up with no evidence of an abduction. So we're left to assume that it was foul play, possibly a false report to conceal what really happened to Summer. Next up, if not enough information is developed to formulate an assessment as to the type of incident, treat the disappearance as an abduction until information is developed to suggest otherwise. It is better to err on the side of caution. This gives me hope that they do have a good idea of what happened and what's going on and who's responsible. Because I think if they really did not know, reading this makes me think that they would still be saying to the public that it was an abduction or possible abduction. The fact that they came out and said, no evidence of that, not an abduction, tells me that they know otherwise. Because if they really had no clue, they would still be treating it and talking about it like a abduction. And so the last thing I have here is just the paragraph at the top of the page. It says, appoint a contact person, not the case agent or lead investigator, to establish and maintain appropriate liaison with the family. Having one person designated for this function will facilitate the building of rapport and trust. So it is their common practice to have someone from law enforcement stay in touch with the family. Let them know what's going on in the investigation, what they found out, keeping them updated, that kind of thing. And we know for sure that's not happening with Don and Candace. I know it gets frustrating not having a rest and going over 2 years without the case being solved. Not only that, but going over 2 years with little to no information. But when I find things like this, it gives me hope. And I think this makes sense. And I think if there was evidence of an abduction, they would have called it that. But there was no evidence for that. That's it for me, guys. Let's keep our prayers going that Summer's case will be solved soon. And let's keep the faith and hope alive. I know I need to. Have a great weekend. Bye.